Okay, Friday night, guys. Second last training session of the week, that means. And I guess you could call it a butchered, bastardized push session, because it's not like the typical chest and delts and triceps. It's triceps, then a little bit of delts, and then a decent amount of chest. I'm meant to be doing calves as well, but my calves are still absolutely shot from yesterday. When I did calves on my leg day yesterday, I don't know, I must have just pushed them really hard, because every time I've tried to walk down the stairs at home today, I felt like I was going to go ass over tits and trip over. So I'm definitely going to give them another day or two rest before I hit them again. A day rest, because tomorrow will be the last training session for the week. So yeah, I'll give them today to rest, and then tomorrow I'll hit them hard one more time, and then I'll get another day of rest on Sunday before the new week begins. So that's what I'll be doing for calves. So skipping calves today, which means I go right into triceps. Get out my little makeshift funnel. So they were out of big water bottles again, which means I had to buy 3 of these little ones. Hey bro. And yeah, this means I have to fill up 3 times as many bottles, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, because I worked out the right ratio of EAA powder to 1 big bottle of water, and 1 big bottle of water is 1.5 litres. These are 600 ml each, so that's 1.8 litres in total. So I don't really know how much total powder, let alone how much powder to put into each individual bottle to get that similar kind of ratio of sweetness in the water. So I'm just going to have to guesstimate roughly maybe 3/4 to 1/2 of a scoop per bottle. That'll be about right, I think, because you don't want it too sweet. If it's too sweet, it's just overpowering, and then you just don't enjoy it. It tastes like you're drinking sugar water then. And if it's too weak, it tastes like diluted juice, which is just horrible. So it's about finding that happy medium, that Goldilocks zone. But a bit more on the session itself, because I haven't really had an eventful day. It's just been a typical Friday, to be honest, so nothing really interesting to kind of mention, just usual check-ins, Friday check-ins. Actually, that's a lie, I did a little bit more today than I usually do. So why have they got 2 freshness packs in here? This is stupid. I've got like 2 of these freshness packs in here. It's just a pain in the ass, because you can't scoop anything out there. I'll leave 1 in there, I'm not going to leave both in. That's just overdoing it, I think. You need to get your shit together, rule 1. So, where was I? Yeah, been a pretty typical Friday, but because it's obviously the end of the year, I've got my January intake for my coaching business. So I am basically onboarding a new handful of people in January. So I just basically spent the majority of the day today around the usual check-ins that I do on Fridays, Friday check-ins, setting up the new people. So yeah, all their stuff's basically ready to go for the new year. I keep losing my train of thought. This is video evidence right here that men suck at multitasking. I can barely hold a conversation and fill up water bottles. 1 to go. So yeah, in terms of the training session, because again, this wasn't a session recorded last week. I did this session actually when I was at BPC for a photo shoot / video shoot. So I was unable to really film or record anything, because it would have just been a obstruction for the videographer. So he got a lot of footage of me, but I didn't get any footage. So this will be the first time that you see this training session go down. There we go. 3 bottles, ready to rock and roll. Now I've just got my energy drink. G-Beat. What is it? The berry bomb flavour. Same flavour I always get, if I get one, that is. So starting with press downs today, just a tricep press down with that V-bar grip attachment that I like, the real old school one. Then the overhead extensions. I might do the machine for that, seated machine, I'll see how I feel. But whatever I decide to do today will be whatever I do for the remainder of the training block. Keep it consistent so I can monitor and track progression on it. But yeah, press down and then overhead, tricep variant, overhead extension. Then lateral raises, and then into chest, got the incline press. Then I got a flat chest press, and then I got a fly. Because I do the incline Smith press on the first chest focus session of the week, I won't be doing that for the incline press today. I'll be doing a machine incline press. And then for the chest press, I'll likely do the converging hammer strength press, the one where you're laying down supine, which is technically or arguably like a little bit of an incline, but it's very subtle, so subtle that it's not even really worth mentioning. So that'll be the two presses for the session. So likely the hammer strength and neutral grip incline press, which is a bit more of a higher incline angle. Then I'll be doing the hammer strength supine, I was about to say supinated, supine converging chest press. And then just a pec deck fly to finish off. 3 sets of everything. All the rep ranges are somewhere between 7 and 15 reps, so low to moderate, I'd say. Yeah, time to drink this energy drink and then get in there. So I'll turn the camera off now so you don't have to watch me drink this, that'll be pretty boring, and I'll see you guys after the session. Okay, finally, 10 minutes later after waiting for the cables. My favourite cable station. It's the only one I will use. I refuse to use any other stations for arms. It just feels too good. That's what she said. Alright. So we got, let's have a look. 3 sets of 10 to 15. Let's get some good music playing to block out the cancer that is the sound of other people training. Shit. Did not land where I wanted it to land. Actually, I got a warm-up set first. So 60% load, just for a few reps. Alright, first working set now. See how it goes. Okay, a little bit of a hydration break before set number 2. Now, for anyone who might be wondering what kind of music I listen to when I train, it honestly varies. Like, I'll listen to classical sometimes, like Goldberg variations by Bach. Other times I'll listen to like Creed, kind of like indie rock, that sort of thing. It might be R&B or rap. The only thing I don't really listen to, honestly, is country and pop. I really don't like K-pop specifically. I think K-pop should be burnt alive, if it was a living entity, that is. Do not like K-pop. Do not like pop in general. R&B is okay, but I prefer just regular hardcore rap. Yeah, it ranges between rock, indie rock, rap, metal, occasional classical. Just really depends on what I'm in the mood for, to be honest. Like, I've listened to the Goo Goo Dolls before, but it just really depends. I'm a big fan of actually Nefx, or Nefx, I don't know how to say it. They're like copyright free. They do a lot of motivational tracks. Sometimes I put them in my videos. I've been doing that for years. When I first started making YouTube videos, I think before I started, like, I suppose, getting comfortable in front of the camera with the training segments of my videos, I'd just overlay Nefx. I recently started doing that again just because sometimes I forget to charge my microphone, and then obviously there's no audio to listen to, so I figure I'll just chuck music on, overlay it with music so it's not completely boring. Set number 2. Things I'm focusing on with this, just keeping the elbows tucked in close to my sides. I like keeping the elbows as close to my midline as possible, or my center of mass I should say, and then just as I come up, driving the elbows back like that, maximize elbow flexion, and as I press down, really focusing on getting as much of a contraction at the bottom, as strong of a squeeze possible. Obviously, as the set gets closer towards the end, as you get closer to failure, your ability to actually fully contract or keep your elbows in without letting them like flail is going to become more and more difficult, and you might get a little bit of body language and a little bit of sloppiness kind of set in with your technique, but that doesn't matter as long as you're focusing on keeping your composure or holding your composure as best as you can throughout the entire set. That's what matters. Like, technique is going to falter a little bit towards the end. You just want to minimize the degree to which it falters and keep pushing until you get right on the cusp of failure, or sometimes even to failure, because in order to really know if you're on the cusp of failure, sometimes you have to take it to complete failure to actually understand what that is. Two sets of 13 so far. Let's log that before I forget, so that way I don't have to re-watch the video later on to jot down the number of reps per set. So yeah, one more set to go, then on to the overhead extensions. I think I'll do the machine. I kind of feel the machine because there's less setting up involved, and I think you can really focus on just executing the movement as symmetrically as possible when you're sitting down in a machine, as opposed to trying to maintain balance and slightly brace your core to kind of keep you upright when you're doing it with a cable, with an attachment on the cable pulley. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Okay, music time. No, not that song. Shit song just came on. There we go. That's right. Okay. Gotta figure out which settings are right, because it's been a while since I used this. So I have to play around for a little bit. That feels about right. I'll do the first set here with this setup, and if it feels off with an actual working weight, I'll adjust it on set number 2. It feels about right. So, 50, 10 to 15 reps, so 50 should be sweet. That's roughly what I was doing last time I had this in rotation. So this overhead extension, because you can get more of a stretch through the tricep, being in more shoulder flexion in that starting position, it's, in my opinion, advantageous to try prolong your exposure to that lengthened position. So spend more of your time in each rep of a set in that stretch, as opposed to in that fully, or not fully contracted, but in that contracted position. Lockout. Get some NF on. Ooh. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep that set up. Keep the machine set how it is currently. So seat height number 3, I've got to remember that next time. I might actually write it down when I record what I get on this set. So I don't have to play a guessing game next week when I do this again. Alright. I'm not going to count that last rep. Did not lock that out. So set number 2, 13 reps. And seat height number 3, I'll record that now too so I don't forget. Alright. Bam. Okey-doke. I'm actually surprised. This pump's no insulin. This is a 0 insulin pump. It feels pretty good. Got one more set of these and then it's on to shoulders. I only got one shoulder exercise today, so it feels like a bit of a bludge to be honest, but every little bit counts when it comes to shoulders, that's for sure. Just sprinkling a little bit of shoulder work throughout the week, here and there. It adds up. That's the thing, like when it comes to training any specific body part, you don't have to do every exercise for that body part in a single session, or for example, you don't have to hit every head of a muscle or hit a muscle in every single way, like in a shortened position or lengthened position in a single session. If you're just ticking those boxes across the span of an entire week of training, that's fine. It's like a practical example of what I'm trying to say here is if you're training biceps, for example, like you've got your incline dumbbell curls, your Bayesian curls, you've got your spider curls, obviously some targeted in its lengthened stretch position, others targeted in its shortened position. And you've got your brachialis, you can target with hammer curls or neutral grip curl variations. And yeah, sure, you can include them all in a session, but it's a fuck off a lot of work. Or you can hit a muscle group, body part, 2 to 3 times a week and just sprinkle in those exercises throughout that week of training. Maybe you hit the biceps in a stretch position on one day, the other day you hit them in a shortened position, the other day you do hammer curls, crying out loud. You don't have to have like 3 or 4 exercises for every body part every time you hit that body part in a session in a week. I think that's I suppose the realization you come to when you become a little bit more advanced and experienced. You realize you don't have to hit a muscle from every fucking angle in a single session. And in fact, it can actually be counterproductive sometimes, because if you're doing that much work for a single body part or muscle group in a single session, how productive do you really think those exercises are going to be that trail the first exercise for that body part? They're not going to be as productive, especially the dead last one. If you're doing 3 or 4 exercises for a single muscle group in a session, the 4th exercise you do, you're going to be fucked by the time you get to it. There's no chance in hell that you're going to be performing your best, as opposed to if you were to just delegate 1 or 2 exercises in a few different sessions throughout the week. So, food for thought. But what would I know? I've only been lifting for over 10 years, and I've only more than doubled my body weight in that time. Definitely did not have a 14th rep in me, so I didn't even try it. If I missed it on that 2nd set, there's no way I was going to get it on that 3rd set. So I'll log that quickly, and then it is on to shoulders from here. Alright. Now to save a little bit of time, shave a couple of minutes off this training session and try to play catch up for waiting around for 10 fucking minutes for the first machine. I'm not going to rest between finishing triceps and starting shoulders because there's no need to. My shoulders aren't fatigued in the slightest from hitting triceps. Oh. I have to say, even though this isn't a bad piece of equipment, I do prefer the Hammer Strength brand, but they don't have that here. They've only got the Life Fitness. Gets the job done, but it just doesn't feel as smooth or as targeted on the delts, I guess you could say. So 130 pound for, I believe that was 15 half-assed reps. I'll try to do better reps on the next set. Now, I actually feel rather inclined to throw in a bit of rear delt work in this session too, even though I'm hitting rear delts tomorrow. But I'm not going to do it because I'm responsible and I'm going to stick to my program. If anything, I'll just do double the rear delt volume tomorrow. It makes no sense to train a muscle group twice in a row in terms of 2 consecutive days. But out of the entirety of my delts, I'd say my rear delts need to come up the most. Lateral delts after that, and then front delts after that. It's not to say that I don't need to bring up my front delts, just relative to the other 2 heads of the shoulder, it's not as important. But I always find it funny when people are claiming, oh, you don't need to do any front delt work, direct front delt work, you get enough stimulus in your presses. It's just such a powerlifter thing to say. I mean, I used to say it too, but I was a powerlifter when I said it, so that's why I can kind of get away with making that association with that phrase. But in reality, yeah, sure, some people don't need to directly target the front delts, but there are a lot of people that do. A lot of people don't have front delts. But that's also to say, or it goes without saying, if you've got no front delts, then you're probably weak as fuck and small as fuck, so you're probably just going to get bigger in general. Yeah, enough ranting. Time to do set number 2 before I get too cold. Oh. Third and final set of these, and it'll be on to chest. Just realised I've actually got 4 sets of this. I had 3 in week number 1, but last week was week number 1, so 4 sets it is. Okay. 8 to 12 reps on this. Seat is too high though. I've said this before and I'll say it again. On any of the hammer strength incline presses, if you have the seat set too high, it'll make the exercise incredibly easy. You'll be able to move a lot of weight on it, but it's doing nothing but stoking your ego. So make sure you have the seat low enough when you do any kind of hammer strength incline press, and you're good to go. But yeah, 3 sets of 8 to 12 on this, and then it's onto the supine converging chest press. Converging, not converging. What the fuck are you doing there? It's late. I'm gonna use that as my excuse. Late at night. Yeah, it's nearly 9 p.m. Jesus. Better get on with the session. Probably should have warmed up. Completely forgot to do a warm-up set. That is very unlike me on pressing, because I'm notorious for hurting myself on presses. I have a bad track record, so I'm usually very thorough with warming up these days, but I just completely forgot then. 3 sets total, so 2 more to go. Okie doke. Had a bit of a sip of the magic liquid. Record set number 1 before I forget. Two plates per side, so it's at 180 pounds. 180 pound for 10 reps. 2 more sets of this, 3 sets of chest press, and 3 sets of flies, and I'm done. And I'm out of here. Okay, let's do this. you ever see me get a wedgie, it's because I don't wear underwear when I train. It's the way I see it. French women can get away with fucking not shaving their armpits. I can get away with not wearing underwear when I train. I think that's fair. Yeah, 2 exercises left now, and the next one's free. Thank God. Have a little bit more rest before I do the first set of these. Still feel a little bit of lingering fatigue from the incline press. So with these, I'll try getting into the starting position at the bottom before I do the first rep, so that way I can count the press up as the first rep. But in order to do so, I need to make sure that my scapula are like symmetrically in place. Everything's symmetrical, because if it's not symmetrical and I press it up, I can't really count it as a rep. I mean, I could, but it'd be a very shit quality rep, that's for sure. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can do it the way I'm going to do it, or you can assist yourself in getting one handle up and then get the other handle up and then start, control it down, and then on the press up, count that as your first rep. But I'm going to try the lazy man approach. Get into position to start. Chest still feels a little bit tender, so I'll play it a bit more conservative this week, yet again. Yeah, second set. It's a little bit too far up the bench on that set. Felt like as I was pressing up, I was almost pressing away from myself. Because the way this machine should feel when you do it correctly, if you're unaware, is as you press up, it arcs back slightly. So you're finishing a little bit more above your shoulders if you're starting around nipple height. So it kind of like arcs a little bit like a bench press or a barbell press would naturally arc, just a little bit more orderly because it's a machine, it's in a fixed plane of movement. But I need to unfuck my setup on that third set, make sure I get the most out of it, so I'll make sure I slide down just an inch or two down the bench from where I was in that set, and that should be right on the money. Just log that last set. Almost forgot to do that. Okay. Quite a good song. There we go. Alright, that's better. I swear I must be smoking the glass pipe today. I've got 2 sets of dips, not 3 sets of fly. Just getting this session mixed up with the first session of the week. From memory, in my deload week, these felt like absolute dog's vomit, so I'm going to go more conservative on these today. 2 sets of 8 to 12, but just potentially a little bit more sub-maximal, more akin to deload sets than actual working sets. Because you do place the shoulder in a pretty compromised position when you do dips. Fantastic for chest development though, you just don't want to snap your shit up, so I'll play it a little bit safer today and just progressively and gradually ease back into them. That first set went better than I expected. 12 decent reps at 210 pounds, so see if we can match that on this set. I'm going to do a bonus set because I got a small chest and I need to fix that.